What is going on, y'all, and welcome to Monster Energy Supercross 6. Now, in this video, we're going to start by going over some tips and tricks that I think are going to be really helpful for you, especially if you're just starting out. And I also want to give a massive thank you to Milestone for sponsoring this video, and if y'all want to check out the game, make sure to use the link in the description down below. Now, after you have customized your character and played through the first tutorial, I actually recommend immediately going back into the Supercross Academy, because if you go right back in and do maybe 3 or 4 more individual missions, your skill will increase so much faster than you might think, because these individual missions focus on specific skills when it comes to handling the bike, and I learned very quickly that spending time in here will make you so much faster when it comes to races and career mode and really everything that's available to you. Now, you might think, well, of course it would. They're tutorials, but they honestly feel like so much more than that, because as you play through these missions, you will genuinely watch your rider skill dramatically increase. And what's really cool about these challenges is that they're all small, bite-sized missions that you can play through in a very short amount of time. So if you want to work on 1 or 2 skills in particular, be that cornering or rhythm or jumps or whatever the case may be, you can actually repeat that same one over and over and over again until you feel like you've got it. And the sections of track that they put you on for these are so well suited to that particular skill that you always feel like once you get that skill, it's pretty much dialed into your brain. Another one is, especially when you're first starting out, don't be afraid to use the rewind function. There's nothing wrong with using that rewind function, and let me tell you, it will actually not only help you out of a jam, but it'll also make you very aware of what not to do next time. I know it definitely made me aware of what not to do next time on quite a few occasions where I either came into a corner way too hot or did something like that and got on the throttle way too early with the bike sideways and looped myself into 360. And once I had completed a few of the tutorial missions, I jumped into a single race here at the Atlanta track. Now, this track is an absolute blast, but so are literally all of the other tracks in the game, and I highly recommend using the quick race mode as a way to practice and get some time training for the career races, because again, it really does help. And even from the start of your very first race, it will become apparent to you very quickly that rhythm is a huge part of this game. So if you're going to focus on practicing anything, focus on these 2 things, rhythm and cornering. Everything else will basically fall into place after you dial in your cornering and your rhythm. Now, another thing to watch out for is these lighter color sandy areas on the track. Those can get you into some real trouble real quick if you're not paying attention to them, because you can wash the bike out so easily, it's not even funny. And oh yeah, whips are super fun in this game. They are so much fun to do, and they are so fluid once you dial them in. You can extend a whip so far that if you have enough time to basically go past 90 degrees and then turn the bike back around, you can do it. It's wild. And after you've spent some time in the quick races, you can head over to Rhythm Attack, which honestly is one of my favorite additions to the series, because this mode will both make you better at the game and also be insanely fun at the same time. I repeated this one track over and over and over again because it's so insanely addicting, and it literally makes you want to get better at it. It's such a really fun challenge that every time you do it, you're like, well, I could have done this part a little bit better, or this part a little bit better, or I want to clean this up, or I want to clean this up, and you end up doing it so many times that your rhythm sections in literally every track get so much better because of it. Now, this very first run was alright, it wasn't all that great, but essentially what this is it's a giant drag race with a bunch of jumps in the middle of it, and I love the concept of that. I love taking one element of the races and putting it into this one event, because these rhythm sections can, in some races, make or break the entire race. Like, races have been won and lost because of one or multiple rhythm sections. And this, again, like I said before, all it will do, or, well, besides being an absolute blast to play, is it will make you so much better at rhythm sections. Now, don't mind the fact that I completely changed sides of the track after casing that jump. I didn't do that again. I was very specific about not doing that again, actually. This next run was so clean right up until the point where it really wasn't. And I had some beautiful moments in this race that were just so smooth, so clean, and so satisfying until I got a little ahead of myself and decided to do another whip after the last jump I had just done. I upset the bike, and then I threw off my entire rhythm, and then that essentially was just toast for my race at that point. But as you can see, that's how quickly these rhythm attack events can turn around on a dime. Now, once you move into the career mode, you will advance through Futures, Rookie, and then Pro, all while being guided by Jeremy McGrath. And once you start jumping into these career mode races, you will absolutely be glad that you went through the Supercross Academy tutorials when you started the game, because I definitely was glad that I did. And it also just helped me get a little bit more familiar with the game before ultimately jumping into the career mode. And granted, if you would rather just do the very first tutorial and then right after that just dive into the career mode and go from there, feel free, go right ahead, especially if you have played games in this series before. Absolutely, go for it. But if this is your first game in the series or you don't normally play games like this, again, I would definitely recommend sticking with the Supercross Academy before diving into the career mode, unless you just want to get that adventure started right out of the gate. And by the way, once these career events start, they are a blast. They're really engaging, and you'll find yourself getting, like, really immersed into the races. I know that I absolutely did, because I lost track of time when I started these career races. And even though this first track might seem a little bit on the tighter side, once you get into a rhythm with it, once you get into a flow with it, I was out of it right there, don't get me wrong, but once you get into a rhythm with this track, it is an absolute blast. It's so satisfying to get into a rhythm on some of these tighter tracks. And don't get me wrong, the bigger tracks are insanely satisfying to get into a rhythm on as well. However, once you get into a rhythm on one of these small tracks, it is incredibly rewarding. I think it's probably because you're changing direction so much. You're diving into one corner, diving into another corner, going through a set of whoops, and then up and over a jump. There's so much going on that I think when you nail it all together, it really does dial up that level of reward. Now, if you've been spending a lot of time in career mode and you want to change the pace up a little bit, head to the Supercross Park. The Supercross Park is this massive free roam explorable environment that you can literally spend as much time as you want in, and there's pretty much no limit on where you can go and what you can do. There's collectibles all over the place that you can find. There's giant jumps and mountains that you can negotiate. There's all sorts of different elements to this free roamable map that I absolutely love. And I still haven't seen the entire map yet. There are so many different areas. I was so torn on whether I wanted to go up the mountain or if I wanted to go to the quarry. And you will have so many moments like that on this map until you fully learn it, which I haven't fully learned it yet, and I've spent quite a bit of time on it. But I think the reason behind that is because every single new area on this map that I discover, I spend a ton of time there because it's genuinely that much fun. And again, one of the coolest things about having a massive free roamable map like this is that the more time you spend free roaming around this map and just experiencing it and exploring it, you continue to make yourself better at the game, and then you'll end up being faster when you go back into the career races. It's so wild how the skills that you pick up in this game pretty much all build on each other, and I love that the game promotes that. It promotes it in a way that you can just have fun practicing your skills while you don't even feel like you're practicing your skills. You just feel like you're, riding around a free roam map having a blast. And have I mentioned the speeds that you get up to in this map? It's absolutely nuts. And we're not even at the area of this map yet where the airport runway jumps are. The airport runway jumps are insane. Also this, it's essentially a giant ski jump. I don't know what that trick was, by the way. Some kind of like, I don't know, upside down backflipped 1080 spin. I have no idea what it was. I literally just held the stick down and hoped for the best, and it actually went pretty well. Now, these are the runway jumps, and they are gnarly, although I tried to do that same trick and then stop in the middle and tried to kind of get the bike to flip back over onto its wheels. Didn't happen. Also, if you ruin your speed and you ruin your rhythm on the runway jumps, you should probably restart them because they're some of the longest jumps I've ever encountered. And not only is there a runway filled with jumps, there's also a pipeline that goes down a mountain that you can literally ride your bike down. This map, the more you explore it, the more insane it gets. And I love the fact that they just throw these collectibles all over the place. Some of them are in like super easy to get to spots, and others are like, oh, you're gonna make me work for this one, aren't you? But either way, they're always fun to find. Oh, am I gonna make it? Nope, not that time. We were close. We were a little bit closer than we were the last time, but still not necessarily a landing. But if y'all enjoyed this video on Monster Energy Supercross 6, make sure to let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. And again, if you are interested in checking out this game, make sure to use that link down there in the description box. And once again, massive thanks to Milestone for sponsoring this video. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.